I'll read further, my lord, because the Honorable Finance Minister was also very categorical that we are not coming out with a foolproof scheme. There may be some lacunas here or there, and we are ready to improve.
Mr. Solicitor, is it your contention that under this scheme, the ruling party does not know who its donors are?
No. The party every party knows who their respective donors are.
Yes.
Yeah, my lord, the confidentiality is from other party, my lord. I'm sorry, my lord, I am unable to convey the heart of the matter. My lord, if I donate to Congress, the Congress knows Tushar Mehta has donated.
Right. But you don't,
my worry is
you don't want another party to know.
BJP should not know so that I don't get victimized. That's the purpose of confidentiality. That is, my lord, again, idealistic way. Practically, the party...
Even that is not idealistic. Because the assumption is that the Almighty knows who has put money in the hundi.
Your Lordship, I bow down, my lord. There is no confidentiality. There is no confidential, my lord. Even the person also knows why he is donating. That is reflection of the fact that there is a line in Ganges for, my lord, because they know that bahut paap kiye dhona jana padega. So people also know that.
That's why we said we are not for a moment saying that, look, there are 3 or 4 considerations which are very important. One, the need to reduce the cash element in the electoral process. Very important.
Reduced,
right? Second, the need to encourage the use of authorized banking channels for that purpose, which is the only way you can reduce the cash element. That's the second consideration. Third, there is a countervailing consideration. Third is incentivizing the use of the banking channels.
Which is confidentiality according to us.
And therefore, according to incentivizing the use of the authorized banking channels should therefore result in greater confidentiality. But there is a 4th consideration, which is the need for transparency. And a 5th consideration, which is that this should not become a legitimization of kickbacks and quid pro quo between the power centers, whether in the states or in the center, and people who are really, in that sense, they are benefactors of that power. They are supplicants.
I bow down.
Yes,
I bow down.
So all these. So when the balance is drawn between these, of course, the balance has to be drawn by the legislature and by the executive, not by us. We are quite conscious of that. But it's not therefore that you have an either or. Either you have this or you go back to an entire cash system. You can design another system which does not have the flaws of this system, which really they put a premium on put a premium on opacity. You can still devise a system which balances out in a proportional way. That's the point.
I'll just...
How it is to be done is for you to decide.
I'll just...
We will not step into that arena. That's no part of our function. Because, now these 5 considerations which I have listed out, you must now read in the perspective of how it has been implemented. First, there was a cap that your donation must be related to a percentage of net profits. A percentage of net profits meant that the company must be in a position to have net profits. And that you would donate 5% initially, then it became 7.5% under the 2013 Act. Now what have we done? Now we say that, well, it has nothing to do with whether you have net profits or not. In other words, the company may have 0 profits, it may have 0 turnover, but it gets a donation only for it gets a certain income or revenue only for the purpose of the donation. That means
I'll immediately say
that passes money. So what will you do then? You will bring about an amendment to the Companies Act.
Let me take your lordships through this.
So you will move an amendment to amend the Companies Act to the effect that...
amending, my lord, is a legislative function. I cannot make that.
But you have to move the amendment. If you...
Yes, or your lordships may, my lord, read it accordingly.
No, is the government making a statement that we will amend the Companies Act to bring back the position what it was, namely... that this will be only a percentage of the net profit.
No, I'm not saying percentage. I'm saying profit-making company can only donate.
But tell us something. Assuming that it's a profit-making, it may have a 1 rupee profit, it may have a 100 rupee profit.
Yes.
Why would a company, if you don't have a percentage, why would a company, for what conceivable reason would a company donate 100% of its profits? Because you have to take the extreme case.
Yes, yes, my lord.
That's why I give you a 1 rupee company passes the threshold that I'm a profit-making company.
I have two answers.
I have a 1 rupee profit, but I will donate 100 crores. Why would a company do that?
My lord,
Therefore, when, it can't be that, the government says that, well, it can't be that we lay down under 142 the principle that so long as you're a profit-making company, you can donate as much as you want. The reason why these caps were introduced and that they stood the test of time were for a very legitimate reason. Namely, that you're a company. Your purpose is to carry on business. Your purpose is not to donate to political parties. And if your purpose is not to donate to political parties, you must donate only a small portion of your, assuming that that's an altruistic motive, which is, of course, not so, but we will not go into it because nobody is challenging the
I'll just, my lord, may I-
1956 Act provisions, the 2013 Act provisions. We are now looking at today's challenge. By having narrowly tailored provisions, for instance, that you must carry on business for a certain stipulated period, you must have a certain asset base, you must have a certain turnover. These are all, usually accepted yardsticks under the Income Tax Act to prevent a shell company from carrying on activity. That you must have a certain degree of business turnover, capital, assets before you can donate. That makes sure that you don't have a shell company. You can put all these things in place. There's no difficulty. That will obviate your concern of shell companies.
I bow down. I bow. My lord, it is, if I want to disclose my identity, I can pay by check. It's not taken away. I don't have to go through this, my lord, electoral bond scheme. I can still pay by rtgs, direct banking transfer, or through check. But then my identity would be disclosed. If I wish that to remain confidential, then electoral bond. My lord, I have, my lord, very seriously, and I am bound to, considered, my lord, the concerns which your lordships have shown as custodian of fundamental rights of the citizens. And my lord, the government is proud about it, that your lordships are concerned. And my lord, I have some solutions, my lord, to offer, so that that concern also can be addressed. And your lordships would find the bona fides of the government that we really do not want to know who has donated whom what amount. Let the confidentiality remain complete except under the court order. I'll say, my lord, as and when, my lord, that a part of the scheme comes.
But that, Mr. Solicitor, you know anyway who has donated what amount. The moment an electoral bond is tendered to a political party by a constituent,
The party would know.
The party knows it.
Correct, my lords. What the donor doesn't want is the other party should not know. My lord, kindly, my lord, appreciate the example which, my lord, which will be comfortable to Mr. Sibal. I'm just on the lighter side. Suppose, my lord, as a contractor, I donate to, say, Congress party. I don't want BJP to know because it might form a government in the next
I've
election.
forgotten I'm not in the Congress party.
You appear for a Congress person
Maybe
from
so.
Madhya Pradesh,
Maybe
and
so.
therefore I am saying.
You are appearing for a government, you're not part of that party.
Absolutely not.
So I'm also not
No,
part
I am just putting
just-
myself as a contractor.
That example I thought was a bit.
Yes, yes. My learned friend's client is a leader of a Congress party
That's all right.
in Madhya Pradesh. Therefore, I am giving the example of Madhya Pradesh, and I am saying that a contractor wants to donate to Congress would have an apprehension that BJP might continue to be in power, or vice versa. If he gives donation to the ruling party in Madhya Pradesh, he might have a element of fear that Congress might form the government. That confidentiality the donor wants to ensure. And that is not for me to judge. That is for the lawmakers to judge. And the lawmakers felt in the parliament that this is the most incentivized way of black money generation and black money payment in the political process. That's their view.
But what about the voters' right? As Justice Chagla has pointed out,
let me conclude.
long years back.
My lord, that is a wider choice, my lord. But that would be a separate debate. My lord, voters' right, my lord, is to know what party gets what information. I would not choose to vote for a particular party because Mr. X, the contractor, has given electoral contribution to a party. Well, that's an utopian dream. That's an idealistic dream. We have to formulate a policy based on practicalities involved. Well, otherwise, we will not be able to, your lordships have a very heavy responsibility on your lordship's shoulders. That is encouraging clean money to come into the system and discouraging those elements which compelled the people to use the black money. So, my lord, the transparency, democratic principles, right to know, etc., they are idealistic things and I bow down to those principles. But when we formulate a policy, we must formulate a policy which balances purity of election is supreme over right to know. Voter votes not based upon which party is funded by whom. Voter votes based upon the ideology of the party, the principles of the party, the leadership of the party, the efficiency of the party, and how, my lord, the business houses vote, whether this party's government is giving me a sufficiently good environment to secure my investment. It's not always quid pro quo. As a businessman, I would choose that this party government, whenever it is formed, there is red tapeism, there is corruption, there is interference by the ministers, there is interference by the MLAs. As against that, X party, when it forms the government, it is policy-based decisions, not individual-based decisions. My investment is secured. There is a business-friendly environment, less red tapeism, and therefore I would like this government to be formed. And that's the business interest of every business owner.